We'll go ahead and open with prayer. Joy, if you would, Joy Dawson, if you would please in prayer first.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much that you've allowed us to still have this freedom. Let's be attentive tonight so we can make a good decision on the upcoming election. Lay your hand, Lord, on Donald J. Trump's shoulders and help us make and help him make good decisions as we go through this next year. All these things in your name.
All right, Trio Kirkman, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I got a couple of comments I'm going to make and just kind of set some of the expectations out there for the audience and for our candidates. First thing I want to do is say a bunch of thank yous. I want to thank Scott Cumby for coming up and being our moderator for the event. I want to thank the officer team. They put a lot of work into getting all this together already, and they're going to continue, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. The Government Service Center, that's who's hosting us tonight, and our timekeeper, White Seal. I also want to thank all the candidates. You are either already serving in office or want to serve in office. And this is a challenging environment to just be a leader, period, but especially in elected office right now. And regardless of what happens on the 3rd of March, thank you for putting yourself out there. It's appreciated. We're going to ask some questions tonight that are hopefully going to challenge you, not necessarily to beat you up, but to help better prepare you, not just for questions you might get out there on the campaign trail, but what you might face come next January. The world is very complex, and it's going to require a different brand of leadership and a different brand of teamwork than we've had to muster probably in the last 80 years. There's people in this room who are signing up to do that. One of the things I think the party needs to do is help circle around you and build you up and support you with facts. So tonight, we're going to start that. I'd also like to thank the audience coming out tonight. We'll try to keep it flowing smooth and quick. We got a lot of questions. We're going to try to flow through pretty quick. Audience members have questions. There's note cards and pens in the back, and you can fill out your questions if you want. Just go to the back and fill out, or you can get the note cards and fill them out at whatever time you need, and then raise your hand, and I will be roaming around. If I see a raised hand, just make eye contact with me. I'll come get the question and I'll give it to our vetting team up here, and then they'll feed it into our moderator. A couple of comments. There are 16,000, a little over 16,000 registered Republicans in Surry County, and the Surry County Republican Party fielded 21 local candidates. There are 8,000 registered Surry Democrats, and that party only fielded 1 candidate. This very situation is so prevalent across many counties in North Carolina. The state GOP distributed a policy for checking recent party registration of candidates to dissuade the left from running in Republican primaries. We hear about all this in the news at the national level in far places, but it's happening here too. I will ask candidates who've changed parties in 2025 why. This doesn't mean these are bad candidates. It just means the voters need an opportunity to hear directly from that candidate why they recently switched to the Republican Party. And they don't need to hear it from me or from social media. They get to hear it from the person themselves. We also need to get to know our candidates, but I also carry a responsibility as the chair for this county party to determine if any Democrats are running in the Republican primary. I just gave you the statistics. 21 to 1, that's not necessarily natural. Regardless of how long they've been a Republican, we need to ask questions that help people understand where they really stand and where their values really are. If a candidate believes in Republican values, such as limited government, fiscal and personal responsibility, individual rights, then tonight is going to be a great experience among friends. However, if a candidate is running on the Republican ticket simply to get into office, and then once elected, they're going to abandon those values, then tonight is going to be rough, because that's my duty. I hope we have no one in that situation tonight, but if they did, their actions earned it, not mine. Time is critical tonight. You don't need to listen to me, you need to listen to our candidates. We're going to maximize the amount of time that they have to talk. So we're going to stick to a pretty tight schedule. Our priority tonight is asking questions to contested partisan races for candidates in actual attendance. All candidates present will have an opportunity for opening remarks that are 2 minutes long, but questions may be limited to contested races only. Uncontested candidates will have opportunities for question and answer at the county convention in March and during general sessions later on in the summer. Nonpartisan races are on a time available basis, and we'll try to keep to those next session on Tuesday night. Candidates have 1 minute to answer each question to maximize the number of different questions asked. We're trying to get as many questions as possible, so probably 6 or 7 for the candidates. This is a forum, not a debate, so no back and forth. We'll rotate which candidate answers each question first, so that keep that fair. You can see the timer on the screen. All right, the timers will be set. As a candidate, you'll be able to watch that time, but when Dwight raises his hand, at the time is up, you have the opportunity to finish that sentence. Okay, we're not gonna cut you off mid-sentence, but don't take another sentence, all right? You'll have another question to answer, so we wanna keep it rolling. The audience can participate by submitting questions to our vetting team. The cards are on the back table back there and pens, and you can write your question. Bring them up to the vetting team up here at the front of the room. Gail and Delana will take your questions, and then we're gonna try to feed it into the timeline. If we get so many questions, we won't have time for all of them, but we'll do the best we can to consolidate and try to get your question into the candidate. And at that point, we will break. We'll have a break in the middle. After the commissioners are done, we'll start with the school board after the break. We really need to hear from the candidates, not the audience and not the chair. So please keep your comments to yourself, and side conversations will be moved outside. Some questions are from the party and some will be from the audience. The ones from the party include fact-based components. I cannot take credit for the party questions, but I will take full responsibility for any of the party questions. If you're not happy with a question, don't complain to anybody else in the party or the moderator or to Dwight. You can complain to me, but let's do it at 9:30. I brought most of the data here so we can talk about it. That's part of the reason for doing it. Also, these questions this is a Republican primary. These questions are biased towards Republican values. So if you have issues with the question, then there might be some other issue besides the question. So just think about that. Think about why we're asking these questions. So with that, I'd ask all the commissioner candidates to come forward and we'll start and let them have the floor. Scott Cumbie, you have the podium.
So we're going to begin with 2-minute opening comments. So we'll just start here on the end and work our way down the line. So introduce yourself and whatever you want to say in the first 2 minutes.
Okay. My name's Ricky Thomas.
And you can stand if you wish or sit. It's your choice. So.
Okay, I'm Ricky Thomas. I'm running for Central District County Commissioner. I just want to serve for the Central District. I was approached by someone. I first signed up to run for school board, and Charles and I were just running under the same thing, and it wasn't. We just take votes away from each other, so I dropped out of it, and I was told to pray about it, and I laid the fleece out, and I had to sub the next day at school. And I went in, and the first thing the lady said, she looked at me and said, "Hey coach, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing fine. How are you?" She said, "Are you running for school board?" I said, "Well," I said, "it's not right for me and another guy to run the same thing and us take votes away from each other. So I'm going to drop out probably." And everything. I said, "People come by and ask me to run." I was in no means of running for any office or anything. People approached me. And she says, "Well, why don't you just run for county commissioner?" And I said, "Ma'am, you don't know what you just done to me." And everything. I hadn't spoke to a person that day.
15 seconds.
I said, "You don't know what you just done to me, what I'm now gonna have to do," and everything.
Okay, thank you. Next candidate.
My name is Steve Yokeley. I'm running for county commissioner, which will be in from Mount Airy. I do live in the city limits of Mount Airy. I'm a native of Winston-Salem. I've lived in Surry County since 1974. I think if my math is correct, that's almost 52 years. So I'm almost a native of Surry County, but I practiced ministry for 29 years here in Dobson. Have worked in real estate since then. Once I finished dental school, I had already joined the Navy Reserve, and I had 2 years active duty in the Navy, and I stayed in the reserves after that. I did mission trips when I was a dentist. I had 3 dentistry days, 2 a year, one for children, one for adults, while I was a dentist. And I probably would still be practicing if I hadn't worn out. I just worked too hard. There's at least one person here that knows how that is. He was a classmate in dental school. So you do wear out eventually, but I had to stay busy, so I started a real estate company, Group 3 Real Estate in Mount Airy, and we're actually the largest property management company in Mount Airy, although I did sell that business too. I was tired of working 80 hours a week for a second career. So I've always worked in public service. I have been acting or president of the Greater Mount Airy Chamber of Commerce twice in 2023 and 2024. And I'm also have been on the boards of still the Mount Airy Chamber of Commerce, the Habitat for Humanity, and New Hope, New Beginning.
All right.
Good afternoon, my name is TJ Bledsoe, and I'm running for County Commissioner for the Central District. Born and raised here in Surry County my entire life. I don't know how many generations it goes back, but been in banking and insurance for 25 years. Last year I came and joined my father's insurance company because my daughter wants to go into the business. So we're big on generational and keeping things going in our family. But to tell you a little bit more about me, I did graduate from Surry Central High School, went to Surry Community College, did not finish Surry Community College. Started a business, landscaping, and
Maybe, I don't know.
maybe a sign. But anyway, I stood on this stage 4 years ago. Had no intention, I'm not a politician. I don't mind speaking in public, but that's because I'm a salesman, not because I'm a politician. But I stood on this stage and said I was running for school board, and I was going to be unapologetically a Christian conservative school board member. And I think, especially if you read social media, that has been what has happened. We've made decisions that are not always popular. They've ruffled feathers, but that's why we're there. And I was approached to ask if I would run for county commissioner by Mark Marion, and they said he wasn't going to seek another term. So that's why I'm running for county commissioner. I want to take what I've done with $100 million, not what I've done, but I've been a part of with a $100 million budget for the school system. Surry County taxpayers gave us almost $12 million last year, and we only missed that budget by 0.34%. So we're really good stewards of the county's money, and I want to continue that from the county commissioner level, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Frank Fleming. I'm running for Surry County Commissioner, Mount Airy District. And you're right, I'm not a politician. I'm a local businessman. I'm born and raised right here in Surry County. I'm not a speaker. So if y'all are looking for somebody that can get up here and really put on a good show, have a vocabulary that nobody can understand, I'm probably not your man. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to work for the people, who's going to listen to the people, you know, if you're looking for somebody that's going to find the truth, speak the truth, and then tell the truth, you're probably looking at the man you need to elect. Don't have a lot to say. I'll try to answer some of these questions. I can say I'm for putting the Bible and prayer back in school. There's not a Democrat bone in my body, so you don't have to worry about that. There ain't nobody else.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna now begin with questions, and the time changes to 1 minute, and that 1 minute is gonna go quick. So just encourage you to be concise, and you can see the timer on the side. So as soon as you're ready to go, we'll start with, we're gonna let Steve go with the first question. Okay, if you need me to repeat the question, I'd be happy to do that. So,
Just 1 minute.
okay. Ready to go. Okay. First question is, why are you transitioning from your current service to your community to run for the responsibility of a commissioner during an increasingly challenging fiscal environment?
That's a great question. There are a lot of tough choices that are going to have to be made in the next few years, and I think I'm the person to do it. I'm extremely conservative. Fiscally, I will take some risk with calculated risk with my own money, but never with private money or public money. So I know that there are some issues with schools coming up. There's some issues with fire departments right now, and there are going to be major issues in the coming months and years with probably lack of money. I think the money from the federal government is going to dry up a lot, and probably some from the state government too. So we're going to have to be fiscally responsible and make sure your tax money is used well, and that we run government very efficiently.
Thank you. And going down the line here.
Repeat that for me one more time, sir.
Okay, the question is, why are you transitioning from your current service to your community to run for the responsibility of a commissioner during an increasingly challenging fiscal environment?
My wife asked me the same question. I feel like that I've been put here. This is not to sound hokey or try to say anything to try to get votes, but I feel like the Lord has blessed me in my career to allow me to have the time and the flexibility to be able to do this, to serve others. And, there are difficult decisions that are going to have to be made. We have a lot of expenses with the school system. You mentioned the fire department. So those are decisions that are going to have to be made, and they have to be made with the mindset that every dollar that somebody spends in the government is taken from you and me. So you've got to spend it as fiscally conservative as possible and be responsible for it. So that's all I got.
Repeat the question
Okay.
again.
Why are you transitioning from your current service to your community to run for the responsibility of a commissioner during an increasingly challenging fiscal environment?
Well, I've never really got into politics a lot. 4 years ago, I built a new business in Mount Airy. A lot of you know where it is. I run into a lot of difficulties, stuff that I shouldn't have run into. I had fights I didn't have to deal with. And I didn't know what a mayor was. I didn't know what a commissioner was. I knew the name. I didn't know what their job was. I didn't know what they did. But to get my business going, I had to learn what these people, what they done, how they done their job, what their job is about. It became very interesting to me. I went up against the town of Mount Airy with some issues I had, and when I got done, all the people in the room become a friend, and they said, "Man, you need to run for office." So the best thing I know to say is I'm one heck of a problem solver. If you want somebody that can solve some problems, I'm the man you need to put in office, and I still got a lot of energy left.
Thank you. You got the question, or me to repeat it? Okay. Question again is, why are you transitioning from your current service to your community to run for the responsibility of commissioner during an increasingly challenging fiscal environment?
Well, I was approached, like I said, to run. I've coached football teams, I've run the league, I've done all those things. You know, I've had to handle money and that. I've not handled money in this type of environment though. But transparency and things, there's things I think that the public ought to know. And I won't hide anything from them. I'm not a politician either. Didn't have any inkling of being one. But the things I've seen going on here lately, you need to know about it. And if you elect me, I'll let you know. I'm not afraid to let you know, and I'm not afraid to stand against anybody. And I'll be that honest with you. That's all I can do.
And goes to TJ. Okay, second question, again with TJ. According to the 2020 census, population under 18 dropped below 13% during the prior decade. What is your vision to make Surry County a better place for families to thrive and young adults to remain in Surry County? Okay.
Well, sort of to piggyback a little bit off of what Frank was talking about, when he was trying to do something with his business, the difficulties that he had I gotta stay away from this guy. The difficulties that he had doing that in this county. We have got to make it to where we're a county where people want to come to do business. To say, Surry County, man, that's a place to go do business. They'll help you. They'll work with you. And to tie into that question, what we need to do is be able to have people that want to come here, that want to open up other businesses. We need more businesses in Dobson, because when the government if their government wasn't here, we wouldn't have a town. We've got to have more things to do, and with more restrictions in the form of licenses and permitting and departments and this and that, people aren't wanting to come in. So you've got to work with the people so they can come in and create those businesses to give the young people things to do and more people to retire and have their other families come in as well.
Any question again?
Yeah, please repeat it again.
Okay, according to the 2020 census, population under 18 dropped over 13% during the prior decade. What is your vision to make Surry County a better place for families to thrive and young adults to remain in Surry County?
That's really what's happening here in Surry County. These kids, they grow up, they go off to college, they go to the bigger cities, and they find out there's more to life than what Mount Airy's offering them. What we got to do, we got to bring business to Mount Airy. We got to have incentives to get companies to come in to create jobs where the kids can come back here. If there's nowhere for them to take their education that they get and get a job in Mount Airy, they're going to stay in the other cities. You got to help the people. Like take me for instance. I've always been in business in Mount Airy. I wanted to expand my shops. I opened up a second shop, and I've done it without no help from the county, the city, or anybody. Somebody could have helped with that. We got to help the companies that's here, want to expand. We got to create jobs for our kids to come back. Then our population will go up.
Well, I've thought about that for years, and the biggest problem we have, I think, with bringing businesses or companies into this area is the backlash of the ones that are here not wanting the salaries of their people going up. They're against it and everything. And so that's the biggest problem we have with drawing business here in Mount Airy and corporations. Reynolds wanted to come in here years ago, and they fought that, and they're in Winston-Salem now. And that's people in this area here that fought it, and they're down there now. That's why. And then he's talking about the kids. My child went to college, went off to college. He's down in Raleigh now, and as a doctor and stuff. It's more out there for them than there is here. That's why.
Thank you.
With the number of people under 18 declining, the number of elderly people is increasing, and these people are not going to have children. So the only option is to attract younger people who are having children. And the best way to do that, number one, is to have great schools. That's one of the first things people look at. They also look at hospital medical care, especially pediatric care. But we need to work hard assuring that there are jobs available for people getting out of school and not just college. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need lots of people in the trades to keep things going very well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question will go down to Frank.
Make it easy.
What is your whole of government vision for addressing the drug abuse problem in Surry County?
Well, from what I understand, it's gotten pretty bad. I've been listening to some of the people that's been talking about it. But to stop the drug problem, you've got to stop where it's coming from. You got to start at the top, then come down. These kids are out here, they're young, they're innocent. People are talking them into taking these drugs. That's the people we got to go after. We got to have a good, people that get addicted to it, a good thing for them to get off the drugs. You got to work on that, but it starts at the top. It comes all the way down to the bottom. It takes parents. When I was a kid, I was afraid to drink a beer and come home and face my mom and daddy. The parents have got to put some fear in these kids. And so it's got to start at the top. It's got to come all the way to the bottom. It's going to take a little bit of everybody. But you got to stop the drugs coming here, and that's going to take care of a lot of it.
Ricky will be next.
Drug problem in Surry County, I mean, we, the police force or they arrest them and it's just like a revolving door. They're right back out and everything. We gotta have to make it hard on them to get back out and everything and like that. And as far as the kids go and everything, we can educate them all we want to. And peer pressure and all those things adds into that too. And everything at the school level. I've been in the schools. And I've subbed in the schools. I mean, they're taking it right in the middle schools now and everything and stuff. We gotta make it where that's not available to them and to get them off of it. So that's cutting these, whoever's bringing it in or whatever, we gotta stop that if you're gonna stop the drug problem.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, the flow of drugs has to be stopped. I don't think that's really our responsibility. It's the federal government and the state government, mostly. Of course, local government can do some things about that, the sheriff's department and the police departments. But I have been actively involved in a group in Man Area called New Hope, New Beginnings, which you probably have never heard of. But it's transitional housing for people that want to be off drugs. Some of them are referred from prisons and jails, and the local jail does have a program to send these people to transitional housing. And the recidivism has been very low. Most people go through the program, they can stay as long as they want to, but jobs are the most important thing. People that have had problems with drugs usually have legal problems, and once they have that, it's really difficult to get any kind of jobs.
Well, I wish I could tell you that there's one answer to that, but there's not. I think it's a multifaceted approach. First of all, I don't think we're going to arrest our way out. I mean, look, we just built a $55 million jail, and we still have a drug problem. So, and I think, not to call anybody out, Mr. Johnson, he's worked in drugs and will tell you that you're not going to arrest your way out of it. But I think we've all got to work together. You've got to do many things. You've got to have programs for these people and not vilify them, because a lot of them, they're not bad people. They have something that's genetically wrong with them, that are hooked on a lot of these drugs. And so you've got to offer programs. Everybody's got to work together. It's got to be a community approach.
10 seconds.
It's got to be from the schools, the sheriff, everybody all working together. But there's no magic pill, no magic bullet, and I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I know the answer.
And I think we're back to Ricky for the next question. Okay. Question 4. How do we open the door of opportunity for our workforce by bringing in more industrial-focused jobs? How do we open the door of opportunity for our workforce by bringing in more industrial-focused jobs?
Well, first of all, we've got to get the jobs. We got to get factories here. We've got to get manufacturing factories here. I mean, I was in 1989. I worked at Proctor Silex, and they were sending me to Mexico, setting up our machines in Mexico, and I knew then I had to find me a job and everything. Everything's moved out of Mount Airy. We got to draw factories in here. We need to get vocational courses back in our schools and everything. I'm a product of that. I was an electronic technician, and I got that from high school. We need to get that back in. Those type of things. But we've got to draw manufacturing and businesses back into our county, so our children will have a job or a place to get a job. That's what we need to do. And we, as the county commissioners, we're going to have to do it.
We certainly need to bring in new businesses, but before we worry about that, we need to support our local businesses that are already here. There are many manufacturing companies. We could even call it the carport capital of the world, I think. But they produce a lot of new metal structures, and they're always looking for jobs, people to work. And we can support Surry Community College, who can help with training these people, welders and electricians and metal fabricators, to help with the problem. But we need, as I said, we need to support our local manufacturing first and help them get the the employees that they need.
Repeat the question for me, Scott.
Okay. How do we open the door of opportunity for our workforce by bringing in more industrial-focused jobs?
Well, to bring the jobs, you've got to have the people working the jobs. And unfortunately, the education system, I believe, failed us for 40 or 50 years, if not longer, by selling the lie that you have to have a college degree, even if it's in paper mache, in order to make anything in your life, or you're less than. So now you try to call a plumber, try to call an electrician, try to call any tradesperson, it's hard to find. So what we've got to do is continue doing, and we're doing, I feel like, maybe I'm a little prejudiced, but we're doing a great job of that in the school system. We've got programs going now that are being looked at across the state and across the nation. There's one called Fleet at Altec. We've got high school kids that go over there and work 4 hours a day and go to school 4 hours a day and get paid about $17 an hour. So we've got to continue to do more and more of those programs. Surry Acting Works, the county invests in that. We've got to continue to do that. So we've got to continue with our education.
Thank you.
Okay, let's repeat it one more time.
Okay. How do we open the door of opportunity for our workforce by bringing more industrial-focused jobs?
Okay, it's pretty simple. The first thing you gotta do is be a business-friendly community. You gotta give incentives, you've gotta want companies to come to our area. You've got to want the local businesses to grow. I've been through it myself, I know what I went through. I doubled my workforce in the last 3 years. If I done it, anybody else can do it that's got a company here in this town. You've got to, people talk about where we're gonna get the people to work. Well, our kids are gonna come back home. They're gonna go to college, they're coming back home, they got a job here. So I don't see that as a problem. You build the companies, the people will come. When I built my shop, and I keep bringing that up, everybody asks me, he says, where you get people to fix cars at? I said, well, they gotta have a shop first. I said, I build a shop, they'll come. I went from 8 or 9 employees to 17 employees in the last 3 years. So a large company can do it the same as a small company can.
Okay, I think we got everybody on that one. Okay, so you're gonna actually start next, because we're gonna have a question just specifically for you. Before we do that, if there's anybody that wants to ask a question of commissioners, it's the back table here, is that right? Yep. Yeah, if you go to the back table, they'll take your question and they'll get it up to me.
Okay. You make this easy on me now.
Well, I hope it is. So, okay, this is specific for you. According to the Board of Elections, you voted Republican in 2016, 2020, and 2024 primaries and registered as a Republican on August 29, 2025. What made you register as a Republican at that time?
Okay, great question. I'm 66 years old. I never voted in my entire life until about 20 years ago. I found out it was important that my voice was heard in the elections. I went to sign up, and they said, do you want to be Democrat or Republican? I said, heck, I don't know. What is a Democrat? What's a Republican? I didn't know. So they said, well, sign up independent. So I did, and I have voted straight Republican for the last, I don't know how many years, you just said a minute ago. But there's not a Democrat bone in my body, I'm telling you. What I've seen out of this world in the last 10 years, I want nothing to do with it. I think it's supposed to be one man and one woman marriage. We ain't supposed to be doing sex changes on these little
10
kids.
seconds.
All these people think it's stuff, it's garbage. I have no need for it. I wouldn't be nothing but a Republican.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Thomas, I have a question for you. According to the Board of Elections, you voted Democrat in the 2016 and 2024 primaries and registered as a Republican on May 15, 2025. What made you register as a Republican at that time?
Well, I voted in the primaries for grins and giggles because I'd go to the primaries to vote for the one I didn't want to get in and everything, because I always voted Republican. When I first became a kid, my dad was a Democrat. In this county, you need to be a Democrat if you got anything in this county. But I changed, and when I went to the general elections, I would vote Republican. And I come up the ramp out here one day. My wife and I talked about it for years, and I have never changed my affiliation. We'd go to the polls. You can ask her. When we come to the general election, we vote Republican. Okay, I hadn't changed my affiliation. I was coming up the ramp out here one day, and I just come to my mind. I said, well, you need to pull in here and change your affiliation. And I did. And then, lo and behold, somebody comes to my door, wanted me to run for school board. Well, then they asked what was my affiliation, and I told them Republican.
Time's up. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start the next question with Mr. Yokeley. So according to the Finance Department audit reports, the Sheriff's Department's budget increased 15% year over year the last 7 years for legitimate reasons due to inflation, with the cost of doing business, new jail expansions, introduction of SROs into every school, and maintaining a viable workforce. However, during that same time, Surry County tax revenue has only increased 5% year over year. Since Surry County can't print money, what is your vision to maintain this critical capability if the annual budget increases of the last decade cannot persist?
The only way to keep taxes down is to increase the tax base. And we'll go back to some of the previous questions. We need to work with existing companies to make sure that they can expand. The property taxes can go up because they've expanded, and also get in new businesses too. But as people get more prosperous, they can buy more expensive houses, and the tax rate won't have to go up because they will be paying more taxes because of the price of the houses that they are living in. So we definitely need to not raise taxes.
10 seconds. 10 seconds, you got it? I didn't mean to cut you off. You have 10 more seconds if you want to take it. You have 10 more seconds if you want to take it. I was just warning you.
Okay.
Go ahead. You have 10 seconds.
All right. The tax rate is not that important. It's how much the actual taxes are, and how much tax you're paying. So if we can increase the value of the property, that should take care of everything. But we need new
Time's up.
businesses and residences to accomplish that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, just for grants, repeat your question.
Okay. Let me summarize it. I'll read the whole thing if you want, because if I read it 4 times, we're going to run out of time. Okay. So the Sheriff's Department budget increased 15% year over year. The tax revenue only increased 5% year over year. So the question is, since Surry County can't print money, what is your vision to maintain the critical capability if the annual budget increases of the last decade cannot persist?
Well, what you gotta do is the same thing, I said this when I run for school board. The way to increase revenue in government, because you don't make a product, you take it from us. So the way to increase your revenue is decrease your expenses. There are things that, while they may be great to have, I personally, and this may offend some people, I don't think that we need the 18th of Augusta around the whole courthouse. There are things that you can do to reduce expenses without raising taxes. So at times I think government, and I love them to death, but government forgets here locally as well that they're here for just a few main reasons. The other things that we're doing are great. If you're in a boom and you got plenty of money, that's great. But if we want to keep our tax rates where they are and keep our needed services where they are, you have to reduce expenses.
I'm not going to ask you to repeat the question.
Okay.
It's really common sense. If you need more money without raising taxes, what do? We've got to have more business here. I'm going to use my business as an example. It's simple. I went from paying to a whole new building that's worth, I'm paying 2 or 3 times the taxes on property taxes. The sales tax every month has almost tripled from what I was at my old location. So you got property taxes, you got your sales taxes. If you bring companies to this area, they're going to bring people. With them people comes more taxes. With these buildings they build, there should be more property taxes. It's pretty simple, and it don't take rocket science to fix it. It's hard to cut money. Cutting money is good if you can. If there's money that's being wasted, I agree, it needs cutting. But if you want more money, you got to bring more people here. To get more people here, you got to have more business here. And with all that, you'll raise your own money. Who's next?
Mr. Thomas. Okay. Repeat the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me summarize it. So the Sheriff's Department budget increased 15% year over year the past 7 years. the Surry County tax revenue only increased 5% year over year. Since Surry County can't print money, what's your vision to maintain the critical capability if the annual budget increases of the last decade cannot persist?
Well, it's like TJ said, you have to cut expenses. I mean, it's that simple. And then, as Frank said, you gotta bring in business. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you know, I can't wave a magic wand, and neither can any of these guys to do this, to print money or raise money. I mean, I could come up here and try to BS you over it, but they've done said what needs to be done. I mean, I can't come up here and make anything up. I mean, they've done said it. I mean, that's that simple.
Thank you. Okay, so this will begin with TJ. So I think this, you started that one, I believe it was. So we'll begin with TJ. Okay, what is your opinion on consolidating the 3 school districts within Surry County?
Well, it goes back sort of to what I said a minute ago. There are things that in a perfect world, in different times, in different days, may be okay. But with declining school enrollment and with taxes the way that they are, it is not financially feasible in the future to maintain 3 separate school districts in our rural county. Now, does that mean that everybody comes and they're all Surry County? No, that does not. But what you have to do, maybe we should have done this on another incident that just happened recently at the commissioners meeting, but you've got to bring everybody together. You bring everybody together and talk. What is the best option for us to all keep our identity, but work together? Because we've got to remember, you're there for the kids, and if you're not, you need to go home.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask you to repeat this one.
Okay, what is your opinion on consolidating the 3 school districts within Surry County?
That would probably create just as much problem as these fire departments that we just run into. The first thing you need to do, you need to listen to the people. You got to talk to the people, see what they want, and then you got to look at all the budgets. You got to look at what's best for our county. You got to weigh the differences out. I just can't see it not being the East Surry, the North Surry, the Surry Central, and the Mount Airy football team playing against each other. So we're not Charlotte. We're not Raleigh. I don't think our county is so big. It's got to have one school system. I'm not sure how them big counties work, but if things are working like they are, there's no problems, if people are not wanting them consolidated, I say you wouldn't mess with it.
Okay, Mr. Thomas?
Well, if you want to open up, if you want to go smack a hornet's nest, you just go ahead and smack it, okay, and see what happens. That's all I can tell you. You know, and see what happens. I mean, that's what you're doing. Just about like you said, the fire departments. You know, go behind the people's back and try to do that. You know, it's like he said, if you want to try to do it, get them together and talk to them about it. But I would want to be behind the other side of the wall probably when you started, because it's not going to go over too good. I'll guarantee it.
Thank you.
You think the fire department consolidation has been controversial? Just wait till you get to the schools. But, you know, it may come eventually, but we'll have to get all the facts, the cost savings, if we do consolidate. It may be that there may not be a lot of cost savings. And you're gonna have to start with a lot of public input and get everybody involved and start talking about it long before you actually do it. The birth rate, of course, is declining, the number of students is declining, so the number of students is going to decline, so something may have to be done. But I am sure that the Mount Airy City Schools, the Elkin City Schools, and the Surry County Schools are going to want to keep their identity. And we need to be sure that they all do that too. But it's going to be a problem in the future.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Fleming on the next question, which I'm waiting.
You got me first last time, but I'll do it again.
Now,
Yeah, they hit me with school.
that's right, yes.
Now, the ones on note cards, I'm not responsible for those. Y'all are responsible for those, just so y'all be clear.
Okay, so I don't live in Surry County, so I don't understand all the politics, but it sounds like this is a big one. I want a commissioner who will not close my fire station. Who will do this?
I don't think that's too hard to answer. All I know to say, I'm not bashing no commissioner we have right now. I know in their heart they felt like they were doing the right thing. And if they could tell me where I could understand it, I would understand it. But nobody has showed me a reason to shut down these two fire departments. I listened to the fire report. It's 90 minutes long. My wife asked me, what in the world are you doing? I wanted to know. I listened to the whole 90 minutes of it. And I never heard them say anything about shutting Banner down or Franklin Fire Department down. These people are born, and it's their life. That's what they wake up every day thinking. They go to bed thinking it. Their fathers were firemen, as them little boys. Their grandpa was fireman. That's all they've ever done. You can't take that away from them. If there's a problem in the fire department, you fix the problem in the fire department. You don't shut it down.
Time's up.
Thank you.
I'm like Frank. They did what they did, and they had probably had good reasons for it, but I don't think they were thinking too good that day. And you're putting people at risk, lives at risk, and those things. And I don't know much about what they were thinking or what was going on, but I probably was another deeper reason somewhere because of that. And they could have probably handled that a little different. They could have got people together. If I'm running a business and I've got a couple of supervisors that ain't performing, I'm going to pull them in and talk to them. I'm not just going to close the lines down and lose production and lose profit.
10 seconds.
I'm going to talk to them and get them straightened out. Personally.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of controversy. What I have heard from some people is that the departments are going to close. But what actually should be happening is the departments consolidate. And hopefully that will save money. But there are reasonable people on the Board of Commissioners. There are reasonable people in the fire department. And the two groups just need to get together and work things out. We definitely need to be sure that they're not closing the departments. The only fire station that I know that's going to be closed is the one on Green Hill Road, which has been closed for years. I think they're using it for storage. But the others, from what I understand, will stay the same. The volunteers should stay the same. It's just there'll be a consolidation of there'll only be one chief and there'll only be one board instead of two chiefs and two boards.
Short answer is no. You never You never go in and shut down something like the fire department. Do I feel like that that's what the commissioners had in mind? No, I don't. I've read the 575-page fire report. I'm a nerd. I read things like that because I like to know what's going on in the county. I also know there's probably more to it than we all know, because I've sat in on those meetings, not with them, but with the school system, and we've had to make tough decisions. There's things that we can't talk about. However, just like we were talking about consolidating school districts, if you'll notice, when we made a vote last month to consolidate Gentry Middle School into Meadowview, we've been talking about that for a year. We brought community in, we brought staff in, we had surveys. I mean, it was like just ad nauseum. We talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. That's what you've got to do. If you have an issue with a couple departments, like these guys have said, bring them in and talk, but don't ever create fear in the community.
It will be, Mr. Thomas will be next. Okay. Okay, this is unfortunately going to be a long one. Are you aware of the Flock automatic licensing plate reader cameras that are installed in the county? There's 8 total. Following question, are you aware that there is a public portal that is made available by Flock AI Digital Surveillance, free of charge, that is disabled in Surry County, allowing the county to see everything that the citizens do, but does not let the citizens see what the county does? How do you feel about this?
Yes, I am aware of it. I was made aware of it, and I've been telling everybody that I know about it. And yes, I'm aware of the portal. And they don't let us have access to it. And if you will go on Surry County Flock, anyone in here on YouTube, you can see it too, and everything. And they say it's being used by our sheriff right now, and everything. And I think also that our government has access to it also. Now, I think that, you can't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure they do. There's one of them in Cana, Virginia, facing Surry County. A lot of the others are at the fire stations for some reason and everything, facing them.
Time's up. Let me ask you one question. As a county commissioner, what would you do about it?
County commissioner,
Yeah, as a county commissioner, what would you do?
what would I do about it? They'd be gone,
Okay, here we go.
because we're paying for them.
Okay,
It's tax dollars right now,
Okay, time's
and
up.
we're renting them and paying for them.
okay. Next question, or next candidate. Want me to repeat it?
gonna have to ask you to repeat that.
Okay, no, not a problem. Are you aware of the Flock automatic licensing plate reader cameras that are installed in 8 locations in the county? Are you aware that there is a public portal that is made available by Flock AI Digital Surveillance, free of charge, that is disabled in Surry County, allowing the county to see everything that the citizens do, but does not let the citizens see what the county does? How do you feel about this?
First of all, I am not aware of that. I know that there are those in other states. There may be some in the larger cities in North Carolina. I'm not even sure about that, but I do know that there's some in other states. But to give a really short answer, I would be absolutely opposed to that.
Okay, excellent.
This will be quick for me because I'm not going to speak on something I don't know anything about. I'm going to be completely transparent. Tonight's the first night that I've heard about a flock. When you say flock, I'm thinking of a flock of chickens. I've never heard of a flock of camera. I don't like surveillance, but I will know about it by tomorrow because I'll go and research this and find out what's going on. That's all I got to say.
You.
Well, I have heard about them. I was told about them a couple of weeks ago. I have looked on the website a little bit. There's nothing about it that I see that really looks good. It feels like, somebody's invading all of our privacy. I would have to educate myself more to know what I would want to do about it. Then after I found out what everything was, I want to talk to the people and see how the people felt about it. I know there's a lot of states that have this. I know a lot of states have banned it from what I've heard. So it's probably not good. Anything that's invading your privacy, I wouldn't be for. So, I would just have to do a little more research, see what I could find out about it. I have seen the cameras. There's one near my house, and I look at it every time I go by. And, what are they looking for? It don't make sense to me. But, I'd have to educate myself more, and then I would talk to the people about it. And if it's bad, I would be against it.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is going to go to Steve. Okay. Our tax rate is lower than most of our counties around us. Do our taxes need raising and why?
No, I don't think they need to be raised, and the tax rate is not that important. It's how much money you're actually raising. And I don't think we need to raise any more money. We need to be really efficient in government and expenses, watch expenses and make sure we're as lean as we can be, and keep the tax revenues the same for the time being until we can get a new tax base so that we can actually raise the revenue, and maybe we can do some other things to help get more businesses in here. The more successful you are, the more successful you are in the future.
Repeat for me, Scott.
Our tax rate is lower than most of the counties around us. Do our taxes need raising and why?
No. Taxes, I don't think need raising. The quickest way to get people to not come here, that's what we were talking about earlier, is trying to get people to come here, businesses to come here. Quickest way to run them off is to raise taxes. And I'm not a Democrat. I don't want to raise taxes. You reduce expenses. If that is some services that are niceties, unless the people, and I work for the people. Now, if the people come to us and say, hey, we want everybody, we want you to raise our taxes, well, I'm gonna tell you, you're crazy. And I'm probably gonna resign and go home. But I think that's the way to kill business. Kill business, it will kill people moving in, it'll hurt our entire economy.
Go ahead, say it again.
Our tax rate is lower than most of the counties around us. Do our taxes need raising and why?
Raising taxes is absolutely a no. That does not need to happen. If we need more money, we gotta get more businesses in here. We gotta attract more people to move here. That's the way you raise more tax money. You don't do it by raising taxes. You might want to lower them and make it more attractive for people to come here. The more businesses here, it's going to bring the money with them. And I've said that all along. You build it, the workers will come, the tax money will come, and then that will fix your problems. Well, no, not raising taxes. And if our tax rate is already low, we should be able to draw business in and that way. And I would would look into seeing how we could help our retired and elderly folks not have to pay property tax, because they're on a budget, and a lot of times the way that's gone is they probably struggle to pay that and everything. And see if there's a way to cut that out, or maybe cut it in half, or something to that nature. I know there's probably some percentage they don't have to pay, but they pay taxes all their life and everything. and see if we could help them out.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we started Mr. Yokeley, is that correct? Okay, so, yeah, actually, we're right at 8:10, so do we want to, yeah, 8:08, 8:09?
We'll just do one last question
Okay.
for one candidate, and that's it.
Okay. So this goes to Mr. Steve Yokeley. Microphone go off? How about now? There we go. Okay, around the year 2018, as a Mount Airy commissioner, you voted for a tax increase of 10 cents. Was that the right decision?
Unfortunately, previous commissioners had lowered the tax rate to unsustainable levels without considering what they were doing. Unfortunately, at the time, yes, I did vote for it, but the reason is the tax rate had been lowered to levels that could not be sustained, which shouldn't have been done to begin with. I mean, you could lower taxes a little bit, but they had been actually lowered 10 cents, and with property reevaluation, it was another, I think, 1.5% to 2%. So, yes, I did vote for it. I hated to do it, but it had to be done at the time because of very poor previous decisions.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and take that for you. And that's the last question. Okay, I think we're going to take a 10-minute break now, and then we'll start with the school board candidates. So,
All right.
thank you very much.